What's happening, good people? Today is all a lesson about dominant 7 chords, when to use them, how to use them, so that you are equipped with all the knowledge you would need to play calmly, confidently, and of course with soul, because this is, after all, soulful guitar lessons. So what I was doing just there at the beginning, messing around in the key of B flat, and you heard a lot of different dominant sounds, right? You are an intermediate guitar player. If you're watching this video, you're probably teetering. You're not sure if you're a more beginner intermediate or a little, later on in the stage of your intermediate journey. So I am going to assume a few things. I'm going to assume that you know this chord, this dominant chord. It's a pretty standard one. And what I was doing at the beginning was adding a lot of flavor, adding a lot of different extensions, they call them. So like for me, it's like when you're cooking and you add extra salt or extra pepper or garlic powder. You have all these different flavors that you want to evoke from the listener, and there is actually a way to tie it all in together and connect it all. And I'm going to share that with you in just a bit. It's just going to take a little bit to rev up and give you all the knowledge you need, the backstory, before I can just dive right in and tell you. So I was in the key of B flat, right? And what I was thinking is like, I'm just jamming B flat dominant, right? Right? We're jamming in the key of B flat dominant. And I'm just having a good time. And then when I want to do those dominant chords, I think of it as turning around the phrase, right? So if you're new to guitar, that just means like, all right, we have our idea, and rather than it be like a nonsensical loop, we're going to add these dominant chords so that it's like definite and like, oh, here is the end of the phrase. The dominant chords are like the end chunk of the phrase, and then we go back to the initial, the top of the groove, essentially, which is like this. Right, I'm just jamming. And then, okay, so when I choose the dominant chords, I'm actually just choosing the top notes as I want them to sound like a minor pentatonic. I want them to sound like this, like a B flat minor pentatonic. Ooh, right? And the way to do that is add dominant chords with those notes on the top. So listen real quick. So I'll play it slow and then I'll explain what's going on. Oh, and then so okay. They sound really, when I play it slow, I feel like it can sound a little wild, but when you play it quick, it gives a little more motion, right? And you'll see in a second, I'm not playing all the roots, I'm not always playing the basses, and that's just because too much fingering, and I love playing with the band, while I love playing for you, and while I love playing for people on the internet, my favorite thing to do in the world, and what I and the community here is all about, is just being able to take all the skills you learn on this channel and being able to go out and play live with people. It doesn't matter if it's your brother and your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, you're playing for your little nephew. It is all about that human connection, right? And for me, there's nothing more powerful than just playing for another human being, right? And usually that means I'm going to have a bass player beside me, hopefully. Okay, so these chords, I'm playing if we want to dive in, I'm just literally want that top note to be. So I'm playing a D7 sharp 9. I'll play it nice and slow for you. A G dominant, but then it has this note, which is a flat 13. A C dominant with a flat 9. And then just an F dominant chord. And then back to a B flat major. Okay? So when I'm choosing my extensions, I want it to sound like a singer, like ooh. And that could go for, like, I could make up a new phrase, right? And this is where I'm trying to empower you so that you have the tools to make up your own creative phrases and be able to not only just like play what we learn here today verbatim, but also use it creatively, right? And be able to go off and just explore the guitar and explore the world of harmony at your own pace and at your own creativity, like implementing your own creative ideas. So let us review a little bit. So we are in the key of B flat major, and then if we wanted to play a 3, 6, 2, 5, 1 to turn it around for dominant chords, that is a really, really great way to kind of just you'll hear this in jazz a lot, blues, funk, gospel. It's just a really, really great way to end up back at the top of an idea, right? And it gives the listener a sense of like, oh, something's coming, and boom, we're at the top of the phrase again. You could also do it up here. You could play the idea up an octave rather than you could. So I'm playing D7. I'll throw the root in for you. Play it nice and slow. D7 altered. G7 altered. C7 altered. F9. Right? And then B flat dominant. So it is all about evoking a singable melody. So for me, this is so singable. We could do something else singable. We could say something like, I don't know. Let's make up something here together. What if it was so right? I want the top note of my dominant chords to reflect something that is singable. It might be going by so fast, and this might be a totally new concept for you that you weren't even aware of. And I know I wasn't very aware of this concept until, I don't know, maybe a decade into my playing. So if you didn't know about this, there's no shame. Just also, if you have any questions, if I'm going too fast or whatever, just throw it in the comment section below, and I read all the comments, right? So again, we could say something like D7 sharp 5, G sus, C7, F7, back to the B flat 7. Love hitting that little back thing. Okay, so dominant chords. By back thing, I mean like this little whammy bar. It's such a fun little trick. I have a raised bridge, right? So I'm able to do that. Okay, so dominant chords don't have to be boring. There is a time and a place for this sound. There's a time and a place for it to sound very normal. I think for me, these dominant chords are great in Latin music. So if it was like, a Santana song, something like that. They're also really great for singer-songwriters. But if you want to explore into the world of like kind of more avant-garde blues or jazz or gospel music, you need to know these extensions, these cool little extensions for dominant chords. And it's really all about, you'll learn once, we work together and you watch enough of these videos, you'll recognize patterns, right? There's only a certain amount of ways to play a D7 altered that actually sounds good. There's an infinite amount of ways that go up and down the neck, but at the end of the day, if you have, zero point 0.5 seconds to make a phrase that's melodic, you're going to reach for certain chord, you know, phrases that are comfortable on your hand. It's just going to be one of those things that you're going to learn over time what feels good. And for me, like I'm hanging out here for D, for G, for C, for F. It's a very, like, it seems limitless. It seems very limitless. Like, oh my God, I could play all these chords all over the place. But really, it's not. It's a very like finite number of ways you'd actually play these chords. So essentially, review today. We're in the key of B flat major. And then when you make phrases, if you want to sound bluesy or have like a little gospel flair, or even for country, you can choose your extensions for your dominant chords by doing singable phrases in minor pentatonic. So if I'm in the key of B flat minor, you're able to play. I'm just going to choose notes on the top for the dominant chords that reflect a cool minor pentatonic melody. Nothing more, nothing less, It could sound like this. So, yeah, right. And then if you played it fast enough, let's see if I could do it. What did I just play? That's what I played. That's what I played. Essentially, have fun with it. We're here to learn together. Life could be crazy. Life, you're probably running all over the place in the day. So I'm glad you took the time to just come here, hang out with me, learn something, and just hang out and enjoy this instrument. I've been playing this thing for about 20 years. Some people out there, if you're watching, some people are new. Some people, you might be watching this and you've been playing for 6 months or 6 weeks. Some people might have been playing for 60 years, And what's so cool about this instrument, I'm just going to say this much and then we can wrap up for the day. But I just love how infinite it is in like the greatest way. It's like a puzzle you'll never solve, but it's such an enjoyable process. Like every day I sit down and pick up this instrument, I learn something new. I do something new. And for me, like I'm sure it's the same for you, but let me know in the comments. It's just I love sitting down and exploring and just playing and expressing myself. And really, at the end of the day, it's all about expressing yourself and playing something that is pretty and something that will evoke emotion. So, maybe I'm rambling on a little bit here at the end, but yeah, I'm just super, super passionate about this instrument. And I hope today's lesson was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, and I will see you all very, very soon. Take care.